Hi, I'm Dave Wax, the leader of the data team supporting the Democratic Party of Lee County. You're watching VoteBuilder 101, a video training series for precinct leaders. In the previous lessons, you learned how to log into VoteBuilder and use quick lookup to see the key information VoteBuilder has for each voter. In this lesson 3, you'll learn about searches, the most powerful feature of VoteBuilder. In the exercises, I'll show you how to find all the Democrats in your precinct and create a map of your precinct showing where the Democrats live. After you've watched this video, I invite you to log into VoteBuilder and create a map of your precinct showing where all the Democrats live. Let's first talk about searches and lists. You can create lists of voters using many criteria, such as geography, that is to say precinct and even by street, their party affiliation, are they Democrats or MPAs or Republicans, their reported ethnicity, are they African American, Hispanic, white, Asian American, etc., their age, their gender. You can do reports based on their voting history, which elections have they voted in and how do they vote, that is to say by mail, at the polls, and early voting. And you can also find voters using their past volunteer status. Now, you use these searches to create maps, to print reports, to create phone banks, create canvassing plans so that your volunteers can get in touch with these voters. Now, there are two kinds of things here, searches and lists, and they differ in the following way. Searches are dynamic. That is to say, once you create and save a search, when you run that search again, it will find the current voters who meet the criteria in your search. Lists, on the other hand, are static. That is to say, lists include the voters who met those criteria when you created the list. And if you save that list and come back to that list again, it will not find new voters who met that criteria. It also won't find any voters who are no longer in VoteBuilder who met those criteria. But they each have their purposes. Whenever you create lists or searches, I suggest that you save them in folders that you create so that you can come back and use them again. So as the exercise, we're going to map the Democrats in a precinct. And to do that, we're going to use create a new list. We'll select Democrat as the party affiliation. We'll select a precinct, and when we have the list of voters, we'll create a map. So you log into Van, and then at the center of the home page, you look for create a new list. When you click on create a new list, you'll come to a page called create a new search. And that is the way in which you're going to create a search. On this page, you're going to find home districts and click on it. When you've got home districts up, you're going to look for county. When you click on the drop box on county, you'll see only two choices, nothing or Lee. You'll click on Lee, and that will now appear as the county. And now you can see precinct. And before I do that, I'll say that if you want to select one precinct, which I'm going to show you, you use the drop down. If you want multiple precincts, you can click on the blue precinct. That'll give you a list of all the precincts in Lee County, and you can choose the ones you want. But for this example, we're going to go to the precinct drop down, click on the drop down, and now we will see a long list of precincts. So in that list, scroll down until you see your precinct, select your precinct, and then click on it. And now your precinct will show up along with the county Lee. Next, you're going to go look for party. Remember, we're looking for Democrats. So search for Democrat for party. You'll see it somewhere in your list. When you click on party, you'll see the possible party affiliations. So you want to click on Democrat, and then Democrats will be selected. And now finally, and this is rather obscure, you need to find suppressions. Find suppressions and click on it. When you do that, you'll see remove all suppressions as an option. Click on remove all suppressions. You may wonder why you're doing that. You see that it says include deceased. And you may wonder, why we include people who are marked deceased? Well, it turns out that an awful lot of the people who are marked as deceased are very much alive. We don't understand why people get marked deceased. Clearly, if the supervisor of elections knows that they're deceased, they will not be in the voter list. So people have come in and marked people as deceased, but you will find many, many of them are not. I always tell the story, which is I found that a guy who was the director of planning for the city of Sanibel was marked as deceased, and I had seen him speak at a city council meeting that morning. So always remove all suppressions. Yes, you'll end up with some people who are no longer alive or who have moved and have bad voting addresses, but most of the time you don't want to lose the voters that you would find otherwise. Once you've done that, you want to go and find Preview My Results, which is on the right-hand side of the page. Typically near the bottom, you may have to scroll down for it. If you click on that, you will see how many people satisfy the criteria of your search. And if you look right above that, you will see the criteria for the search. Always check those criteria to see that the search is what you thought it would be. In this case, I said Democrat, I put in a precinct, I put in a county, and I had removed all suppressions, so everybody's being included. Then, the next thing to do is to find Run Search, which is right under and to the right of Preview My Results. You click on Run Search. At that point, you're going to see the list of Dems in your precinct. And you see it's the same 1,081 people in the list that we showed when we previewed the answers. Now, there are then many things you can do once you have My List. And those are all on these icons that are right near the top of the page, right under the count of how many people are there. So for this example, you're going to look for Map, and you'll click on Map. Once you do that, you will see a map of all the Dems in your precinct. And just to talk about this particular precinct that I've selected here, you can see this is Daniels Parkway right over here. This is 6 Miles Cypress right over here, Gulf Coast Medical Center here. So it's just to the southeast of the Gulf Coast Medical Center. Now, once you have a map up there, there are multiple things you can do. For example, you can click on Print, which is at the bottom left of the map, and you can print it out. Or you can save it as a screenshot. There is not an automatic feature to save it as a PDF, but if you want a copy of this map, just save a screenshot using whatever technique is appropriate on the computer you're using, and now take that screenshot and crop it to the map and maybe annotate it, and it's not a bad idea to print it out so you have a good feeling for your precinct. This is the end of lesson 3. I would suggest what you do before you go on to lesson 4 is log into VoteBuilder, select create a new list, select Party Democrat, select County Lee, and then your precinct, remove all suppressions, run a search, and create a map, and then it would be a good idea to print the map out.